Welcome to our channel. My name is Tracy. I'm the keeper of the home here at 4D Farms, where we are all about home, family, and living this life that God has so graciously blessed us with. Our channel is full of content that I hope encourages you, inspires you, and most of all helps you on your journey. Be sure to hit like and subscribe and hit the notifications bell so you will get notified every time new content is uploaded. We hope to see you in each and every video. Hey y'all, welcome to today's video. You saw the title, and there's a reason why I'm doing this video. There's a reason why I'm asking that question. There's a particular reason why I'm asking that question. I'm gonna grab my tea here just for a minute. Let's sit and talk a little while today, because this question that I'm asking, there's a purpose for it, because it's something that I want you to think about as you start your journey in homemaking. For me, it's personal. That question is personal. And I'll tell you why I'm asking it. And I'll tell you why it's personal to me. I'm not going to get very vulnerable and put myself all out there. Little bird. Put myself all out there. Because, for one, I have some family that do not know how this affects me. I've never told them. They've never asked. I don't know how they would feel if I told them some things and I let go of some things, because their feelings may be different than mine. Their experience might be different than mine. When I started on my journey of homemaking, the number one thing that I'm struggling with this, y'all. I really pondered on doing this video. And I prayed and I prayed and I prayed and I prayed. Because it brings back emotions that I try to keep buried. But the Lord was like, I've got you. But what you have to say, we can use it to help someone else. Dagnabbit, God. I hate it when he's right. Sometimes in my life, I would just like to be right sometimes. My husband is usually the one that's always right. I just want to be right one time for a change. Okay? All jokes aside, let's get serious. I asked that question for a reason, and this is the reason. What kind of home do you want? What kind of home do you want to make for you and your family or your future family? If you're not homemaking yet, but you're fixing to be on that journey, you're a young person and you're fixing to get on that journey, you're engaged, or you're fixing to move out, or you're whatever. My reason for asking that question, y'all, I'm struggling. I'm trying to get to it. How was your home life growing up? You don't have to get personal with me. I'm just going to throw myself out there just for a few minutes. No, you're not going to know everything. No, you're not going to find out everything. No, I'm not going to talk about everything. Because just talking about this little bit is stirring up emotions. I had to pray about it before I even turned the camera on. Trust me. See? Me and the Lord had to have a talk. And if I can make it through this, okay. If I can't, y'all just bear with me. Oh, that's so good and warm. This weather can't make up its mind what it wants to do. How was your home life growing up? Did you have a good home life in your childhood years growing up? Do you want that same childhood? Do you want that same home life right now for your family, for your children, for your husband? Or was your home life unbearable? Growing up in your childhood, in your teenage years, as you were getting older? Do you want that for your home now, in your home, for your family? If you grew up in a home life and you weren't happy, you didn't feel safe, you didn't feel secure, it was traumatizing, you didn't like it, don't you want something different? Think about it. Do you want something different for your family? Or did you grow up in that same position, but you're stuck? You want something different, but maybe you're stuck and you don't know what to do. And you're like, no, I don't want that for my family, but I'm stuck in a rut. I can't get out of it. I've put my family through the exact same thing that I went through as a kid, and I don't know how to get out of it. Or you're like, I want something different. Ask yourself that question. I have family that watches my channel. I have friends who watch my channel. Just be prepared for the words that I say next. Because there's only one person that I talk about some of my childhood with that can help me, and that's my mama. I don't talk to my sisters about it because their experience may be a little bit different than mine. And I am by no means going to rain on their parade or bring up emotions. Y'all, some of these emotions are things that I've tried to keep down deep. Every once in a while, something triggers and it will bring back something. I got to beat it back down. Growing up, there was some things that was not pleasant. No, I was not physically abused, okay? Don't even, okay? I don't know how to talk about it without getting too personal. There was just some things in my childhood that at the time I was little, I've always had strong intuitions. God blessed me with that. I've always had strong intuitions. At an early age, I could always tell something's not right. And I was always uncomfortable. Let me back up and say this. The only thing that made me feel safe and secure growing up, childhood years, besides the good Lord, He comes first. He made me feel safe and secure more than anybody else. But that was my mama. That was my mama. My mama, bless her heart, did everything she could to make our home safe and secure and loving. To me and my sisters. But I knew something was wrong. Uncomfortable. Couldn't quite put my finger on it. I just couldn't. I couldn't put my finger on it. And my mama, like I said, did everything she could. Loving home from my mama. As I got older, I had trust issues. I had trust issues with people. Okay? My husband, bless his mama's heart. We are never going to sit down and talk about and be very extremely personal with our childhoods. That's just not going to happen. Because like I said, we're still suppressing things that happened in our childhoods that was not pleasant for us. Just recently, my husband came across something that really brought up some feelings in him that he thought he had buried deep. They resurfaced. And he had to just ponder on it for a while and think about it for a while. And bury them again. We've all had to do that every once in a while in our life, right? These feelings come back up. These emotions come back up that you thought was just dead and gone. There's still things in my childhood that I don't quite know what happened. I'm curious. I would like to ask, but I'm not ready to. There's things in my childhood that I was curious about. I wanted to know, and I asked, and I got my answers. Okay, that makes sense. I've seen working with kids at church. I've taught a lot of different age kids at church. We have a program at our church where our church buses are allowed to go. We're connected with the school. Our church is connected with the school in this area. We have a program on Wednesday nights at our church for school kids with the school that's just like half a mile from the church, maybe not even a quarter of a mile, right around the corner, where our church is allowed to go to the school, pick up any school-age children, kindergarten through high school, and take them to our church with parents' permission. They have to sign up, parents' permission, and take them to our church where we feed them, we minister to them, we teach them activities, Bible study, and their parents come pick them up. And when they come pick them up, they don't get out of their vehicles, come in and get them. We have like a line, car rider line, like they do at schools. And they drive up to the doors, and we see who it is, and we, hey, so-and-so, okay? Your mom's here, okay? And then they get in the vehicles. I was working the car rider line one night. Honestly, some of these kids, I didn't want to put them in the vehicles. With their own family. I didn't want to put them in the vehicles. I saw things. I smelled things. I knew things. And y'all, I know teachers at school go through this exact same thing. You see things, you know things, but you're not allowed to say anything. I've had kids come up to me at church and just grab a hold because they just want a hug. They just want a hug. They just want some attention. They just want you to just put your arms around them and tell them everything's going to be okay. I had one kid tell me one time, I want to go home with you. I knew this kid. I knew this kid. I've had some of our own boys' school friends just say, can I stay with you? Yeah, you can. When I was growing up, my teenage years, and when I first met my husband and we were starting our journey, I said, I know what kind of, this was before we got married and we were already talking about our future, what our home life, what we wanted for our home and for children when they came along. We made some promises. I want y'all to know, first of all, the things that we dealt with in our childhoods was by no fault of our precious mamas. My mama, his mama. Our mamas did good by us. They did good by us. I love you, Mama. Kids, let me tell y'all something. Have you ever took into consideration why your parents, if you're in a good home and your parents are just trying to teach you, your parents are just trying to help you, your parents are just trying to be there for you, and you think, why are you always on my back? Why are you always up in my business? Why are you always... Have you ever took into consideration your parents are just trying to create an atmosphere to where you are comfortable, you are safe, you are secure and stable, and you're loved? Have you ever thought about that? Thought about it that way? Instead of clawing your parents' eyes out every time they try to do something for you. If you've got parents or one parent that's trying to create that environment for you, that home for you, that stability for you, Lord, honey, you need to just run to them and thank them. Because when you get to the point and to the age where you're fixing to start creating a home for your family, are you going to want the kind of childhood home that you had? Or you're going to want something totally different and better? It's your choice. It's up to you. I'm going to speak straight at you right now. It's your choice. I've seen so many people say, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to raise my child in what I grew up in. But yet, they wind up doing it anyway. Guess what? Here goes this cycle all over again, stemming down to the next generation. Look at me again. Kids, teenagers, young adults, there is no excuse. There is no excuse to not create that for your family. There's no excuse. Don't sit there and say, well, I didn't grow up learning this stuff. I didn't grow up seeing this stuff when I was growing up. My parents didn't teach me this. I didn't see this, in my home growing up. Stop. Just stop. You may not have. You may not have. But there's no reason why you can't say, I'm going to learn today. I want to know how to create better for my family than what I had growing up. I made that promise to myself and to my then boyfriend when we talked about it one night. We both said right then and there, when we get married, we made promises. Our first promise was to each other in our married life. There's not going to be no divorce. Divorce is not in the cards for us. Divorce is not going to be an option for us. We're the babies of the family. We sat back. We sat back. We observed when we were children. We observed things. Don't think your kids aren't watching you. They are. Sometimes they can quietly observe and listen when you think they're not listening. I was one of those. I'm an observer. I'm a quiet observer. I observed things. My husband observed things in his childhood home growing up. I don't think he wants me to say what traumatized him as a kid. It's not my story to tell. It is not. My husband's story is his story. So, to his family, if you came here wanting some juicy details, you're not going to get any from me. It's his story to tell. And I'm not the one to tell it. I can't do that to him. I can't do that to him. He's told me. And I believe with all my heart he hasn't told me everything. There's still things he hides really deep down. But when he found something from his childhood that his mama had kept all these years, he showed it to me. I knew then what had been bothering him all these years. My story is mine to tell. I haven't really told you anything. The only thing I've told you is just my mama made sure we were safe, happy, loved, safe, and secure. That's all you need to know. If my family came here wanting to get juicy details, you're not going to get them today. I was an observer. My husband was an observer. We just saw things that we knew. This is not how this is supposed to work. This is not how this is supposed to go. And we didn't like it. We didn't like it. Some things we had a choice in, some things we didn't. Some things our mamas had a choice in, some things they didn't. Just ask yourself the question, what do I want for my family? Oh, the second thing, the second promise, me and my husband, it was a promise that was going to involve future children. We promised our kids were going to have a safe, loving, stable, secure home. And I think we've done it so far. I think we've done it so far. We've always put our kids first. We've always put our kids first. We made that promise our kids would come first. Every decision that we had to make for our family, we thought about, how's this going to affect them? What's this going to do to them? When they got old enough where we could tell them something and talk to them about something, we got their input. Our kids always trusted us. Our kids always trusted us. They just knew Mom and Daddy was going to take care of them. You know why? Because we spent our entire marriage doing this for our kids and for ourselves. I knew what kind of home I wanted because I wanted better and different than what I had growing up. We're the babies of the family. We also observed and saw things that happened to our brothers and sisters. What happens to your siblings also affects the rest of the family. What we saw happen to our brothers and sisters, I have sisters, he has sisters and brothers, also affected us, traumatized us. I saw things that happened to my sisters that traumatized me. I said right then and there, that's when I started making a bunch of promises. I was older then. I knew what was going on. And I said, that's not going to happen in my house. That's not going to happen to me. No, sir, no, ma'am. No, sir, no, ma'am. It's not going to happen to me. The babies of the families are the ones that sees all this stuff ahead of time. If you're the baby of the family, watch. Start watching. Then that might help you make your decision better. I want different for my marriage. I want different for my life. That cycle, some people call it generational curses. That cycle, we were bound to determine we were going to break it. And it was going to start with us. It was going to start with me and him. We didn't want to go through what our mamas went through. We didn't want to go through that. We did not want to go through that. We didn't want to go through what our siblings went through. That's one thing that helped us make up our minds. It's going to be different. We're changing that. We're going to start building a legacy. And that's exactly what we set out to do when we got married. Our legacy starts with us here today. The day we said I do, that legacy started. It really started before that, okay? But our legacy started. And so far, the Lord has helped us. The Lord has helped us. We've been able to create that environment for our kids. And they've grew up appreciating it. Our kids we've never fought. Me and my husband have never fought. Yeah, we've had like little tiffs, like a little disagreement, but yeah, we've We've never raised our voices in front of our kids. If we had something to say and we just like, okay, this is fixing to turn into an argument. Let's just hold off and let's just wait. We'll discuss it later. We didn't do that in front of our kids. Don't do that to your kids. Don't do that to your kids. Our kids never seen us fight. Little disagreements here and there. Our kids have grown up seeing us be kind to each other, love each other, aggravate the far out of each other. Take care of each other. So much to the point that that's exactly how they are with their wives. Yes. Yeah, they turned out to be good kids, good husbands. They take care of their wives. They spoil them. Do anything in the world for them. They got good wives because this mama prayed. This mama prayed for good wives. My boys deserved good wives. They did. They're good kids. They grew up to be wonderful young men because that legacy started with me and my husband. So just ask yourself the question, what kind of home do you want? Huh? You want better than what you had growing up? What are you going to supply your family with? What kind of home do you want? You want the same thing? Is that really what you want for your family? If you had a bad experience in childhood, if you had a rough childhood growing up, you really want that same thing for yours? Or do you want to make a difference? Or do you want to break that cycle? It can start with you. It can start with you. Or did you grow up with a good home life? A good childhood? You want to carry that into the next one? Please do. Please do. Y'all, there's no way I could be a social worker. My heart could not handle it. But I have had people say, I didn't grow up seeing this. I wasn't taught this. I didn't get a chance to. I never saw my parents do this, or my parents didn't teach me this. Just stop. Just stop. Just because they didn't doesn't mean that you can't have different and you can't learn. Okay? You can learn. You got to have that desire. I've had people say, I didn't grow up learning all that, yada, 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 yada. But they don't have the desire to want different for their family either. So like I said, it just repeats itself, that it carries on into the next generation. You can change that. You can stop that. We can start getting back to creating wonderful homes. It starts in the homes. It starts in the homes. Creating good homes. Y'all, it's going to stem down to our grandkids. Our grandkids just love coming to our house. That's how safe and secure we've made our house. They don't want to go home. But I don't mind, y'all. I don't mind. Let them babies come.
Let them babies go. It's going to stem down even to our grandkids. Okay? Our home has always been a safe haven for kids. I would rather our sons' friends come to our house and hang out than sometimes we let them go hang out with their friends. I wasn't comfortable. We were kind of like, we had a tight rope sometimes on our kids. Parents, I'm just going to throw a parenting tip in there. Get back to being nosy. Get all up in your kids' business. These days you have to. You have to. Don't sit there and say, oh, well, they just want they want their space. Girl, please. They came out of your personal space. You deserve to. Get all back up in their business. We've got kids committing suicide. We have kids overdosing. We have kids traumatized to the point they can't even function in society. Do better for your family. Get all back up in your kids' business. Check their phones. Here's you another parenting tip. Check them phones. There's bullying. There's cyberbullying. There's sexting. These kids know how to delete things off their phones right quick after it's done been sent. You better check them phones. You better find out who their friends are. You better find out who their friends' parents are. I said what I said. I said what I said. I didn't let my kids go to a friend's house without knowing something about the parents. There's a lot of friends' houses they didn't get to go to. I'm not sorry for that. I'm not apologizing for that. Get all back up in your kids' business. Depression. These kids, y'all, are suffering with anxiety, depression. They can't function, y'all. Too much crap going on in people's homes today. These kids are coming out of homes. I can't, y'all. Again, I can't go down that road. This is why you got kids running to other people wanting those hugs and that affection and that attention and that security and that safety, is because they're not getting it at home. I said what I said. What kind of home do you want for your family? What kind of home do you want for your children to grow up in? Okay? Your kids are listening. They're observing. By all means, if you are in a situation where you or your children are being abused, hurt physically, whatever, you need to get help. You need to get help. Go to someone. A silent clue if you're scared. Give someone a clue. Give someone a heads up. Go somewhere, get help. Please. Do not think that everything is your fault. Your children deserve better. Just, for some reason, I just had to say that. Okay? That's why I asked that question. You need to know before you start your journey as a homemaker, what kind of home are you going to provide for your family? What kind of home do you want? You may move out of the house and not get married yet. Okay? When you get out of your house, you get your own house. It doesn't matter if you're single, whatever. Rooming in with someone, roommates, doesn't matter. You become a homemaker. You got a home. Now it's time to do something with it. What's it going to be like? Are you going to let childhood things follow you? Or are you going to break that? See, I told y'all I wasn't going to get too personal. It was fixing to, but I'd nip that in the bud real quick. That's just the promise that me and my husband made to each other. Some of our childhood was not pleasant. Okay? Some of it was not. But it was by, like I said, by no means any fault of our precious little mamas. Our mamas did good by us. They raised us right. They did what they could. They did what they had to do in order to put their house in order. Our mamas had to do what they had to do to make things better for themselves and for their children, which was us. And I appreciate that. I appreciate that. And he does too. Okay? That's why I asked that question. I just had to. Your home can be special. It can be the best home anywhere. You've got to have that desire first. I don't care if you didn't grow up learning a thing. If you want different, you go out and do it. Get the desire. You got to have the desire. Get that motivation. Be consistent. Stay with it. Don't start a good thing and then stop it because you're not consistent. Okay? I said what I said. Not going to apologize. You got to have the desire. If you got the desire, go for it. You got to have the want to. You got to have the motivation, the consistency. Grab a mentor. Grab someone and say, you know, I didn't grow up learning this, but I've watched you and I think you can help me. I think you can help me. We've got some kids coming out of traumatized homes. And they're either going into the next home and the next stage of their life so traumatized that they don't know how to change it. They don't know how to function in society, and they're living with it, and they don't know what to do. And I hate that. Be that mentor for someone. That's the purpose of my channel. I'm trying to help others. That Titus 2 woman, I'm trying to help others. I would like to see more happy homes. I would like to see more happy, y'all. I hate that saying and that little meme that's going around all over social media. Happy wife, happy life. I don't like that. I like happy spouse, happy house. Because your husband deserves to be happy too. The man deserves to be happy too. It ain't all about you, ladies. I'm telling myself that. It ain't all about us. It's not all about us. Stop thinking that your husband has got to spoil you all the time. No. You were created. Look at me. Women, girls, look at me. We were created to be helpmates, whatever you want to say. We weren't put here for man to spoil us and be so focused on us, he's not getting any attention. We are called to be their helpmates. That's exactly what we're supposed to do. It's not all about us. That is a false statement that Satan has put out there for women to start having that mentality. And you see where it's getting us? We got some spoiled housewives out there. Y'all see them shows on TV? Real Housewives, whatever. I've watched some of them shows. It wouldn't do for me to be the good Lord sometimes. Because I'd have done snatched somebody up. I better stop right there. Ladies, it's not all about us. It's not all about you. He ain't put here to just serve your every little whim and your every little desire and your every little need and your every little want. You're supposed to be doing that for him too. When your children see you are helping each other, you're working together as a team, you're coming together as mom and dad, and random acts of kindness to each other, your kids are watching this. If your kids are seeing y'all fight all the time and oh my gosh, criticize, belittle, and just destroying each other with destruction and criticism and putting down and making fun of. Wives aren't the only ones who are mentally and emotionally abused. There are some men that's emotionally abused. Yes, there's some men that's physically abused. What are your kids seeing in your home? Think about it. You got little observers walking around. And I see some of it. When I had to put those kids and those vehicles in the car rider line, I didn't want to. We got homes falling apart these days. We got homes falling apart. Let's go back. Please, for the love of God, let's go back and create loving, safe, secure, happy homes. Happy spouses, happy houses. It's not all about you. It's about your family as a whole in your house. So ponder on that for a while. What kind of home do you want to make? What kind of home do you want to have? Y'all, thank y'all for letting me get some things off my chest. Thank y'all for letting me talk to y'all. I made it. My spirits has been lifted because now I feel like, hey, somebody maybe can get something out of this. Maybe I've helped somebody to say, you know what? This is why our life sucks. Let's do something about it. There you go. There you go. What kind of home do you want to make? Thank y'all so much for hanging out with me and just having a little chit chat. I will see y'all in the next one.